Welcome in everybody to the 2024 Vintage Audio Buying Guide. Well, I've been at this for, I'm well in my 12th year, and vintage audio here on YouTube has been a huge thing. And to say that I have seen changes in the marketplace is the understatement of the year. And stay tuned, because at the end, I'm going to talk about the most profound change that I have seen occur over the last 12 years, of which it has really accelerated in the last 2 years. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, we're going to get right into it now. We're not going to waste a lot of time. Look, there's a couple reasons that people are interested in vintage audio. The number one reason is there was something called the golden age of stereo, AM, FM stereo, from about 1960, 61, when Zenith first had the breakthrough that you could have broadcast stereo. That was quite a big thing back then. Up until then, they couldn't figure out, if you had one frequency, how are we going to have two different channels to be received in stereo? Well, a Zenith engineer figured that out, and it really helped kick off the golden age of stereo and AM, FM receivers with the Fishers that you see here, Avery Fisher and the Fisher radio out of New York City. Remember when New York City used to be a hotbed, in New York, Long Island, of vintage audio? Some of the most historically great stuff has come out of there. Marantz out of Kew Gardens over in New York City, started by Saul Marantz and his mom on his kitchen table, and Avery Fisher going to a concert and just then buying records and said, why can't the records sound, in the 1940s, why can't the records sound as good as being in the Symphony Hall? And said, you know what, I'm going to remedy that. And he was so great that Avery Fisher Music Hall in New York, well, it stood for a lot of years as a testament to his genius as an audio pioneer. And of course, Fishers, you see here what I call Fisher Row, are renowned. Now, people do collect for a lot of different reasons, and well, that golden age that I told you is one thing. You're going to have something that's never going to be reproduced again. It's like the same difference as having like a 60, 64 and a half, 65 Mustang. Okay, they could make a new fiberglass, a new composite one, and it just wouldn't be the same, right? It'd be like a knockoff. It would be like, a repro unit, and it just, yeah, that's cool, man. We kind of like it, but right, it just doesn't quite, it ain't the same thing as having a rear deer. They ain't going to be making this stuff anymore. These beautiful Fishers, these beautiful Kenwoods, these beautiful Pioneers, these Harman Kardons, it just goes to Sony's. The Nikos, it's just not going to happen anymore. And the reason is manufacturing moves on, expertise moves on, and now we're in the era of the little black box, right, with the LED readout that you're going to pay big money for. It's going to go bad in 4 years, trash it, who cares, right? This stuff is a legacy, all right? So there's number one, is that you're going to have something that nobody else has that represents the golden age of AM, FM stereo, and that's a big thing. You get something that you can put in your home, in your vacation home, whatever, and have something that is going to be a conversation piece. Well, it ain't going to be a reproduction. It's not going to be a black box that puts me to sleep. Okay, man, that's cool. It sounds good, but where's the cool factor in it? Let's face it, most of the collecting of vintage audio, especially the gear from 1958 until about 1982, it's all about the cool factor. Let's be real. Let's say, okay, we're cool. We like it. Okay, let's not hide behind low harmonic distortion and, wow, those watts just blew me out of the room or whatever. It's the cool factor, okay? So that is factor number one. Factor number 2, and before we tear into that, please hit the subscribe and like button. I do a lot of vintage audio stuff. I got a lot of playlists, rescues, repairs, restorations, heartbreaks, victories, beautiful stuff down there. Besides metal detecting, live streaming, demonstration, cooking, so much different stuff on this channel. It's a great variety. Hit the bell for all notifications, subscribe, and be a part of it. Number 2. The fidelity in a lot of these units is outstanding. And a lot of it comes from the quality of the components that went into it as opposed to what we have today. Today is a race to the bottom in terms of build quality, okay? The number of suppliers of parts have dwindled to a very few. It's all a chokehold there in China and places like that. The Japanese had pulled back from a lot of the high quality, moved on to bigger and better projects, fusion vehicles, and they don't really care about making, you know, Sony might still care, but they're not really into the big quality components. These things are loaded with quality components. Big, beefy, solid power transformers, the ones that have them, big, beefy speaker output transformers. These things are so heavy because of that, because they're built so well. These are 50, 60, almost 70 years old, some of these units here, and there's not a one of these that a reasonably able technician can't get firing up again and get going. So you're getting also excellent build quality that you're not going to get today. The number three reason for collecting vintage audio is the fact that it's going to hold its value. Okay? It's going to hold its value in a major way because, as I've said before in some of my videos, the young people come along, they're like, whoa, you know, I've had them before. What the hell is that thing? I mean, I got a boom box in my truck, boom, 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 but I've never seen anything like this. You know, the champagne colored plate fishers with the walnut cases. Whoa, man, what is that? All right. So there's also that aspect of you're getting something that as time goes on, younger generations are grabbing. I can see it now. I can see it happen in places like eBay. I can see it happening in Facebook Marketplace. I can see it happening at swap meets. Go to any flea market. This stuff used to be a dime a dozen. Now you're lucky if you see some old crappy 2018 Fisher, you know, AM, FM or Oinkyo. You know, I'm not saying it's crappy, but I'm just saying it ain't golden age stuff. Okay, so that's a very, very important factor too. Okay, do you want to put your money in, and this has always been one of my philosophies, put your money into something that at least holds its value, okay? Something that you're proud. You're not going to take a black box LED readout Sony AM, FM, right? It hooks up home theater. You're going to tell your grandkids, one day this is going to be yours, right? They're like, what? This thing. They're like, all right, okay, Pops, love it, right? Where's the cash? Tell me about the cash that you're going to leave me. Don't tell me about this black box that you're leaving here, okay? So there's something very special about handing down something like this within the family. It's to be treasured, okay? And it's to be appreciated too. But as usual, when it comes to buying, you need to make very sure that you're buying, as with anything else that's collectible, coin, stamps, condition. I had a real nice gal yesterday I was talking to on a live stream, and she's like, well, it wouldn't really matter to me if somebody engraved their license number or marked the stations on the dial plate with the face of it with an indelible marker, and now you can't get it out with that scratch, and you know, it's going to be okay, right? Well, it's going to be okay, but it's not going to be a collectible, and it's not going to be something that the market is going to want to get. So they're not going to be interested in it. So when it comes time to buy it, demand the very best. Get something with absolutely perfect silk screening on the front of it, great knobs, great face plates, no engravings on it, no marks, no dings, no dents. You want something that's absolutely pristine, okay? That's the stuff that's going to super hold its value. Yeah, you might pay $50, $60 more, $70 more, right? To have a beautiful, beautiful unit. But in the end, it's going to be worth it because you're going to get that back and more. Also, be careful if you're buying by mail. And I owe my old friend Shango, want to shout out to him the advice he gave years ago. You better ask people to pack stuff. If you're getting it by mail, you better ask people to pack stuff and ship stuff box within a box so that baby's able to sustain a dead drop from 6 feet to the ground. All right, that might mean it's triple boxing inside, whatever. And don't complain if it costs $100 to ship it, okay? Because these units typically are heavy and they'll require a lot of shipping material to get it to you in good shape. Hey, look, when people bought these Sonys and these things in the 60s, 70s, they didn't just throw it in with a little bit of bubble wrap. These things were styrofoam, custom-made cases and all that, okay? So demand that it be properly shipped. Okay, that's a very, 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 very important thing. Buy locally if you can, because you can get a look at it. All right, you won't be sorry. Now, as far as what's been I told you I'd get to the last one here, the most profound change in the marketplace. 1/3 of my equipment is tube here, 2/3 because I do tube restoration stuff. The other 2/3 is solid state. And it used to be 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago on YouTube here, everybody was I got to have the tube. I got to have the thing you ripped out of the Magnavox console. I have to have the tube amplifier in it. No, it's got to be tube. It's got to be the tube Fishers and the tube Pioneers and all that. What a change has occurred the last 3 years. It might be that the tube equipment has been so totally absorbed into the marketplace that, well, prices are, well, ridiculous for it, okay, which they are. Even crap that people pull out of a console, Sears Silvertone amplifier. Yeah, I want $300. I want $300. You're going to get $40 for that 10 years ago, okay? But times are changing now. The most profound change has been the interest in the solid state stuff, okay? Particularly the Kenwoods, the Pioneers, and especially those Sony units that I already talked about. This part of the marketplace has been depressed for a while because, well, people have this natural romanticization of tubes, which I do too. Okay, there's a cool factor. There's a chicks. Okay, man, look at this, right? It's cool. But now they're discovering, hey, you can get cool. Really, and Marantz has always been good, don't get me wrong, but it's getting even better now. And the HKs and the Macintoshes and things like that. You have a whole generation of people now now, they don't really know the difference between solid state and tube, but they do know if something is cool, and that's the big difference. So you want to follow that trend if you're getting into it now, and I've talked about Sony as like a real sleeper, especially the STR series, a lot of the earlier Pioneers, the SX780s and things like that I've talked about before. Just absolutely fantastic units and still at a very buyable price. And these things are going to last and last and last because the voltages are much reduced inside of them. There is less chance of component parts blowing, which makes these, well, they're much more stable over the long run, okay? So to wrap up, right, as always, condition, 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 okay? Don't settle for anything less than the best. Number 2, make sure you buy it in good condition. I would always demand that it be in working condition unless it's a really rare piece that you can resurrect, okay, or have somebody knows what they're doing. because, well, us people that can fix stuff are few and far between these days. And, well, I've stopped taking on work a couple of years ago because I've been backed up with amplifiers that's come out of church organs in Indiana and all this. Okay, I can't remember what the hell Leslie's and all these Baldwins and all. Okay, I mean, right. So get something that's in working order. Get something that looks great, and don't be afraid to go for some of the solid state stuff from the late '60s onward. You won't regret it. Okay, there's my best advice, my buying guide for 2024 going into 2025. This stuff these days is ripping in the marketplace because, well, the young people, younger generations are finally getting wise to the crap that's on the marketplace today, and they're grabbing back while they can to get some of the good stuff. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, your thumbs up are appreciated. Please hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below if there's a sleeper that you think is out there, or you want to argue about condition and things. Do so down below. I welcome it. I don't have a well, I got a thin skin as I'm older, but not thin skin when it comes to comments and stuff. I've been knocking around this YouTube for many years, all right? I can take a solid punch and stuff. And if you enjoy vintage audio restoration as I record this, I do have the beautiful Marantz 4430 quad rail quadraphonic unit on the bench that we've been working on. You can check the playlist down below. Fantastic stuff we do on the channel here. Besides a lot of goofing around, urban homesteading in a hood, in a city, right smack in the middle. Right? metal detecting, life-threatening live stream, everything you could hope for in YouTube entertainment in one colossally, beautifully wrapped package. All right, so subscribe, hit that bell for all notifications, and thanks for watching, everybody.